Hello, I'm Mayank. Today we will be discussing CPU scheduling algorithms. The contents today that we are discussing are scheduling criteria, scheduling algorithms, and algorithm evaluation. Starting with scheduling criteria, the main 5 criteria used for comparing the different algorithms are CPU utilization. It is the percentage of time that the CPU is used for executing a process. Throughput, number of processes that are completed per unit time. Response time, it is the time from the submission of request until the first response is produced. Waiting time, it is the amount of time spent by a process in ready queue. Turnaround time, it is the total time taken from time submission through the time of completion. Based on these criteria, it is desirable to maximize utilization and throughput and minimize turnaround, response and waiting time. Now starting with the algorithms, the 4 basic algorithms are FCFS, that is first come first serve, SJF, shortest job first, priority and round robin. In FCFS, the process that has requested for the CPU first will be allocated to the CPU first. Taking the example of P1, P2 and P3, looking at the Gantt chart, we can calculate the waiting time for all the processes. So for P1 it's 0, P2 is 24 and P3 is 27. Average waiting time is 0 plus 24 plus 27 divided by 3, that is equal to 17. Similarly, average turnaround time comes out to be 27. Taking another example of P2, P3 and P1. In this example, we are using the same burst time, but we are changing the arrival of different processes. First P2 is coming, then P3 and then P1. Now the average waiting time in this is 3 and the average turnaround time is 30. We can see the difference in the 2 examples, which is because of the arrival of different processes at different times. The first example is the convoy effect. All the other processes wait for one long running process to finish. The FCFS algorithm is non-preemptive. Non-preemptive means that when one process is running in the CPU can't be allocated a new process until the previous process has terminated. Now SJF will be discussed by Divya.
Hello everyone, I am Divyansh Shrivastava and today I will be discussing about shortage of algorithm. In shortage of algorithm, the process having the minimum CPU burst time is executed first, and in the case of matching burst times, FCFS algorithm is followed. Now, SJF is further categorized as non-preemptive and preemptive. In non-preemptive, once the process has been allocated the CPU, it cannot be preemptive until it completes the CPU burst time. And the second one is preemptive. In this, the switching of the CPU between the process takes place. Now, we will see some of the example of non-preemptive SJF. Here, we are taking 4 processes, P1, P2, P3, P4. So firstly, we will sort the process depending on the burst time. So first P3 will execute for 1 second, then P2 will execute for 4 seconds, then P3 will execute for 5 seconds and then P4 for 6 seconds. So this is the Gantt chart shown over there. So the average waiting time for this whole phenomena is 0 plus 1 plus 5 plus 10 by 4, that is 4 seconds. And the average turnaround time would be 8 seconds. Now we will see another example through animation. Here in this example, there are 4 processes P1, P2, P3 and P4. Here P1 will be arriving at 0 second, P2 will be arriving at 1 second, P3 will be arriving at 2 seconds and P4 will be arriving at 3 seconds. So in this algorithm, that is non-preemptive SJF, P1 will execute first for 8 seconds, then P2 will execute for 4 seconds, then P4 will execute for 5 seconds and then P3 will execute for 9 seconds because they are following SJF. So now it's our time to calculate turnaround time and average waiting time for this whole schedule. So for average waiting time for P1, it will be 0 minus 0, that is 0. For P2 it would be 8 minus 1, that is 7. And for P3 it would be 17 minus 2, that is 15. And for P4 it would be 12 minus 8 equals to 9. So the average waiting time would be 0 plus 7 plus 15 plus 9 by 4. Similarly, average turnaround time will be calculated as shown in this animation. Now I will ask my friend Akash, which will continue the priority and round robin algorithm.
Hello, I am Akash. I will be discussing the topic priority scheduling and round robin scheduling algorithm. Priority scheduling algorithm. In this algorithm, a priority number is associated with each process. The CPU is allocated to the process with the highest priority. This algorithm again works in two modes. The first is preemptive, that is, if a higher priority process enters the ready queue, it receives the CPU. And the second is non-preemptive, that is, higher priority process must wait until the current process finishes, then the highest priority ready process is selected. The main problem with priority scheduling is starvation, that is, low priority process may never execute. A solution to this problem is aging, in which the priority of a process in the ready queue is increased. Round robin scheduling algorithm. In this scheme, each process gets a small unit of CPU time, a time quantum, which is generally between 10 to 100 milliseconds. After the time quantum expires, the process is preempted and added to the ready queue. Technically speaking, suppose if n processes are there in the ready queue and time quantum is q milliseconds, then each process gets 1 by n of the CPU time in chunks of at most q milliseconds, and then no process waits for more than n minus 1 into q milliseconds. The performance of this algorithm depends on the size of time quantum q. If q is large, the algorithm behaves similar to the FCFS, and if q is small, the overhead time gets too high due to excessive context switching. One general rule followed is that 80% of the CPU burst should be greater than the time quantum. Here we have demonstration of this algorithm with a time quantum of 20 milliseconds. We consider 4 processes, that is, process P1 with a burst time of 53 milliseconds, process P2 with a burst time of 17 milliseconds, and process P3 with a burst time of 68 milliseconds, and process P4 with a burst time of 24 milliseconds. The resultant Gantt chart is as shown, along with the calculated average waiting time and average turnaround time. Next, we have a graph showing the variation of turnaround time with the time quantum. As can be seen from this graph, the average turnaround time of a set of processes does not necessarily improve as the time quantum size increases. In general, the average turnaround time can be improved if most processes finish their next CPU burst in a single time quantum. Now we'll see another demonstration of the round robin algorithm through animation. In this video, the time quantum q is 1 millisecond. Based on the arrival time, A comes at 0 millisecond, B comes at 2 millisecond, C at 4, D and E at 6 and 8 millisecond respectively. Depending on the service time, the CPU is allocated to different processes at different time quantums.
Hello, I'm Sandeep and I'm going to discuss multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. So we use multi-level queue scheduling algorithm when we can classify the processes into groups, like when there are foreground and background processes. And in multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, two types of processes have different response time requirements and different scheduling needs. And this is the main advantage of, and the user may want to have more priority for foreground processes over background processes, which we can assign externally. So basically in multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, we partition the ready queue into several separate queues, and then all processes are assigned to one queue based on some property of the processes such as memory size, process priority or process type. And in a multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, each queue can have different scheduling for its processes. Like foreground queue might be scheduled using round robin algorithm, and background process queue might be scheduled using FCFS algorithm. And in the multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, we need to schedule queue also, which is commonly implemented as fixed priority preemptive scheduling. Now this is a common example of multi-level queue scheduling. In the example, there are 5 different queues: system processes queue, interactive processes queue, interactive editing processes queue, batch processes queue, and stream processes queue. So a system processor have a more priority, and stream processes has less priority. So because of this, lower priority processes result to starvation.
So there is a idea to remove the starvation. It's time slicing. So in time slicing, we assign a certain portion of CPU time to different queues based on some properties. So every queue must get CPU time to schedule its processes. Like for example, foreground queue can be given 80% of CPU time for round robin, and the background queue can given 20% of CPU time for FCFS.
So now let's start with multi-level feedback queue scheduling. In this algorithm, the process moves between different queues depending upon the different CPU burst times. Here, queues are assigned a different priority depending upon the time quanta. That is, lower priority queue will be having minimum time quanta. Here, if the process waits too long in a lower priority queue, then it can be shifted to higher priority queue so that we can avoid starvation. Here, a multi-level feedback queue scheduler is defined by the following parameters. That is, number of queues, scheduling algorithms for each queue, method used to determine when to promote a process, method used to determine when to demote a process, and the last one, method used to determine which queue a process will enter when that process needs a service. So now, let us consider an example of 3 queues with a number of Q0 with time quanta 8, Q1 with a time quanta of 16, and Q2 with time quanta 32. Here, when the process is entering into the ready queue, it is put into the Q0, so that if the process is not executed within a time quanta of Q0, then it can be automatically shifted to next queue, that is Q1. The process continues till all the processes are executed. Here, the process that are not executed within a time quanta of 8 is pushed into Q1 with time quanta of 16, and the process which is not executed within a time quanta of Q1 is shifted to Q3, which is following a FCFS algorithm, so that it can be all the processes should be executed. So now Sandeep will talk about techniques of algorithm evaluation.
So now we will see the techniques for algorithm evaluation. So basically in algorithm evaluation, we measure the performance of different scheduling algorithms to compare which algorithm is better in different cases. So there are 4 types of algorithm evaluation: deterministic modeling, queuing models, simulation, and implementation. So now we will see the deterministic modeling. So this is the first example of FCF scheduling for deterministic modeling. So in the example, there are 5 processes: P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 with respective burst time of 10, 29, 3, 7, and 10. So as we can see in the Gantt chart, processes are scheduled as first come first served basis. Now this is the example of SJF. So first we need to sort the processes according to their burst time, then schedule to the CPU. And now this is the example of a round robin algorithm. So here the content time is 10 milliseconds. So as we can see, the every processes are scheduled to CPU for quantum time. After this, we calculate the average waiting time, turnaround time, and response time for all the algorithm, and then measure the performance of algorithm. Thank you.